If you're new to our channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button.
Having problems growing onions in your garden? I may have the solution. Welcome to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener. I'm Joey Baird. Today we're going to start onion seeds indoors as well as leeks. This typically occurs about 10 to 12 weeks before your average last frost day in your area. Now, if you've had problems with onions, you've grown them from seed, from starts, from sets, and you seem to still not be able to develop or have good bulb development, there may be a very simple solution to this problem. You may not be growing the right onions for the geographical area that you are currently at. Onions fall into three categories, and you can search this online on your favorite search engine. Look at onion planting maps. Search that term. Onions fall into three categories: short day, which is grown in the south of the United States; midday or neutral day, the central portions of the United States; and long day in the northern portions of the United States. Based on the amount of sunlight in which these onions get, that's the area in which they should be grown. Now, many companies are now labeling the onions long day or short day varieties, so you can know. Many years ago, you had to guess at the type of onion it was. So, if you try to grow a short day and a long day, or a long day and a short day, you will get onions, but you won't get the onion development that you're hoping for, because you need that duration of sunlight based on the variety. So you get a lot of green tops, not very much bulb development. Now, if you are not interested or have difficulty getting seeds to start indoors, we've got a technique here that's worked for us very well. But there is two alternatives to starting onions indoors from seed. One is starts. Those are the pencil-like bundle that you get from your independent garden center. Green, about 50 in a bundle. Live plants, which all of these are, but those you can plant right away, and they do just fine because they've been grown and transferred over into the bundle and put in your garden. The third option, but less successful and less recommended by us, is the sets. Those are the net bags of little tiny onions. These have been grown last November, December, somewhere in that range, to that bulb development, removed from the soil, bagged up, put in a dormancy. You get them, you plant them, and many of them go to seed that growing season. This is because onions are biannuals. They put that seed pod on the second year. So as you're getting that little bulb, you're putting it in the ground. It's believing by nature it's going through its second year of growth. So it puts most of its energy into a flower rather than a bulb. There will be some bulb, but the storage life on that is very short, because the stem goes all the way through the bulb, because it's utilizing the energy in which was stored in that bulb for the reproduction of the seeds. So keep that in mind. So here's how we've started our seeds for a number of years. In 1 gallon grow bags from rootmaker.com. Now, we've got a deal with Rootmaker. If you're interested in purchasing anything from them, you can use coupon code TWVG at checkout and get 10% off your entire order. Whether it's $5, $500, or $5,000, knock 10% off by using that coupon code. These are 1 gallon. They have 1 gallon all the way up to 60 gallon. The 1 gallon works very well for our onion starts. We fill it up with potting soil, and then it gives a tremendous amount of mass material for those onions to grow over the next 45 to 60 days as they grow indoors before we transition them outside. Now, we have done it in party cups. We have done it in these flats. The two things that have been negative in those two type of growing conditions is not very much soil can fit in a party cup, and the less amount of soil, the quicker it dries out. Here, even though the party cup has a good amount of soil, a good depth, just like the bag here, which is about 6 inches, the tray here has only about 2 inches, and all the roots bind together, and you get a big mat of roots. They don't do well because they just doesn't work that well for us. So, by putting them in the 1 gallon grow bag at the time of planting, we can just tip the bag out, and the roots are very white, very healthy. Healthy roots are white roots. And this air prunes the roots. This is a grow bag with a heat tempered coating on it. So it works really well, very easy to maintain. We can get a lot of onions and leeks in a container here. So we'll just go ahead and I'll show you how to plant these. We're going to do, there's 100 in each one of these packages here. We'll just do, and we're going to label them. If you're not interested in the labeling, it's not a big deal because they're all going to get planted. So all we want to do is sprinkle it on top and then dust it with soil. Now, if you are concerned about labeling them, if you're planting leeks and onions, the seeds are identical. So, and even the plants are identical until a certain stage of development, and you won't be able to identify. So you may mix yours together. You may, oh, I think these are leeks, but they're really onions. So keep that in mind. So here's what we're going to do. We filled it with good potting soil with a slow release fertilizer. You want something with a slow release because it's going to feed the plants. These are only going to grow so long without any nutrients because it's going to utilize the energy in the seed coat. If you don't have a potting soil that has slow release fertilizer, you can grow it in compost, or getting potting soil that has a compost mix in it. That will feed the plants as well. So there's no rhyme, reason, just sprinkle it. Try to distribute them so they're not all bunched right in the center. And then we will take potting soil here and we're just going to dust maybe a 1/4 inch at most on top of these seeds here. And we do want to pat these things down till we have good soil to seed contact. And you may think, well, wouldn't they just grow? They probably will once you water it and the compression happens that way. But this way we ensure that it does well. Just in the same thing in big ag industry. As the planter goes through the field, there are press wheels in the back to push the soil and the seed together to make sure there's good contact. So that's how you do your onion seeds, whatever variety there is, wherever you are and whatever variety that you're growing. Now, with leeks, leeks are unlike onions, meaning that no matter where you're at in the world, there's no specific leek that grows better in one area than the other. So it doesn't matter. It's going to grow everywhere. We grow an American flag leek, which is a very traditional heirloom variety. Now, we didn't purchase any leek seeds because we have plenty of leek seeds that we have saved for a number of years. Now, the germination rate of these seeds are not as great as something from Seed Savers Exchange. Now, no seed company can guarantee 100% germination on every seed in which they sell. There's a certain percentage in which you lose. If you're saving your seeds from year to year and you are keeping them in a cool, dry place, such as the crisp of a fridge, cold closet, you can generally guarantee that you're going to lose about 10% germination every year up to 5 years, 6 years based on the seed, and then at a certain point it really nosedives down. So with these being between 1 and 4 years old, we are going to carpet this grow bag with at least this full bag, and this has got a lot of chaff in it too. We didn't clean these seeds, and that's fine. It's not required. The chaff will just biodegrade into the soil as well. So the black seeds there, we're just going to do this whole bag, and that may seem excessive, but here's the rule of thumb that I follow. I can always not plant the extra plants. 30, 60, 90 days from now, I can't go, well, I magically make 10 more plants appear. So keep that in mind. Overplant, then you can wean off what you want. But you can see here, we've just coated that, and I'm actually going to put a few more seeds on this backside here just to guarantee that we do have a good stand. And the chaff will go in there, not a big deal, doesn't hurt anything, it'll break down. But that's the advantage with the leeks. You don't have to worry about where you're at in the world. And for many years until we found this technique, leeks were easy to start and wonderful to grow, and they did very well. Additionally, and we'll take you out in the garden later as these develop and it's time to plant, we're going to plant these in raised beds because our soil in the ground is too dense for good bulb development. That's also a key to successful onions. So I'm going to get the rest of these planted, and then we'll go underneath the table here. We'll talk about grow lights, how we set them up, what we use, and why we use them. So we've transitioned under the table where we've got our Happy Leaf LED grow light set up. One thing I will say about the watering procedure with these grow bags are most people would just take in water on the top and let the water soak down. That does work, but you can displace the seeds, and then as the plant starts to grow, you can actually get the soil on the plant, and there can be some bacteria and disease that can be introduced into those plants. So what you can do is bottom water, and that simply means put water in the bottom of the tray, about a ½ inch, and if that wicks all up in 30 minutes, add some more until you find the balance. Now with these grow bags, they're going to wick a lot of moisture up, but take a very long time to dry out. So also keep that in mind, and it depends on the moisture in the air, how dry the air is in your house. Also is a contributing factor to the quickness or the slowness of the drying out of the soil. Yes, the top will be a little dry, but you want to keep in mind those seeds are not too far beneath that top layer of soil. So, and because we are in a side bedroom next to a radiator, we don't have to be concerned with a heat mat. Now, if you're in an unclimatized basement, a very cold portion of the house or a greenhouse of some sort, then you might want to invest in a heat mat that has a thermostat that keeps the soil at a desired temperature in which you can guarantee good germination of the seeds in which you're growing. Now these Happy Leaf LEDs, these are the older model. These are about 5 years old. The newer models are much more sleeker, and they do the same job. It just shows the durability in which these lights have done. They have all the spectrums of the that the plants need. The inventor and the owner of the company understands all of this wavelength and light length and all that. So that's why there are different colors here. And you notice the height in which I have it above the grow bag. Now, first thing, I don't need to turn these on until I begin to see the germination of whatever plants I'm growing. Secondly, because I am about 12 inches off the top of the soil, this is where this light will stay for the duration of these plants until they go outside. The reason being is because the intensity of this light is so strong that we do not have to worry about these particular plants or brassicas or tomatoes getting leggy and stretching towards the light. There's plenty of ample light available for these plants. With a traditional tube light, you've got to set that thing right down on the soil and then gradually raise it up as the plants grow, and sometimes even that doesn't provide you with the adequate amount of light for the health of the seedlings. But the Happy Leaf LED grow light does that. Now we have our light on about 12 hours on, 12 hours off. You can go 10 hours on and 14 hours off. Just varies on personal preference, but you want to kind of mimic daylight. You don't want to leave it on 24 hours at a time either. But again, you don't have to turn these on until we see the seeds germinate. So if you're having difficulty with onions, it may be the type of onions and the geographical area you're trying to grow those onions in. Thanks for watching. Join me next time for more seed starting and garden tips. This is the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener.
For more information, please visit thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.